Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on just the DCEU and all that stuff. It's always crazy, isn't it? So the past 24 hours or so, depending on when I upload this video, it has been a bit of a crazy one. I mean, what's new when it comes to the world of DC, more specifically on the big screen, but in some cases also on the smaller screen of TV as well. So the Hollywood Reporter over the past day or so released like this exclusive breakdown article and report of what's going on with DC going forward, I guess post Black Adam, but more importantly, under this new leadership, or lack of leadership might be the better way to put it. So we will break down what's going on with The Flash, and on a separate case or topic, what's going on with Ezra Miller personally, and then other things like Superman, Batman, and other characters like that. But just to start off, before we get into those breakdowns of specific characters and actors, the article does point out that they are still trying to find just their direction, or the leadership of their direction going forward, because they're finding it super hard to find a new leader after Walter Hamada leaves over the next week or so roughly. I've said they were pretty silly to even be in a position where they would let Walter Hamada go at this current stage, because the position isn't going to be an easy one to fill. Like, there's a lot of pressure going into it. And I mean, you'd have to be extremely confident. And let's be honest, a lot of people in that world, it's cutthroat. So you're never going to be that confident where you'd go and think you're going to be 100%, because even that small little failure, might I say, could mean that you're out the door, a week later. But their first choice to replace Hamada, who was Dan Lin, who we talked about, I know, whenever the last time we talked about all this stuff, that didn't work out. So who knows where they go from here, but more importantly, how they come out the other side, because they get to appoint someone who they're confident in. They just do certain things without naming specific things, and it just doesn't work out. Money's lost. And we know Warner Brothers is in a position where they're trying to save money. They're penny pinching, they're cutting shows, ending shows, or giving things that need a bigger budget a lower budget. So it's going to be interesting to see how they come out the other side, rather than whoever they appoint over the next certain amount of weeks or months or whatever it is. But yeah, throughout the video, let me know comments, or let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below in regards to all this. Which of these projects are you looking forward to the most? And all that. Always curious to read what you guys are thinking. So yeah, let's just start with the thing that was really like a byline, not even a byline, like that's not the correct word, but like a little, just one little sentence in this entire article that has a lot of people going like, wait, really? And that's some of the stuff going on with the Flash movie, and more importantly, its future and other things attached to it going forward. So according to the Hollywood Reporter in this article and breakdown, the Flash sequel has already been written. And it's been written apparently by the Aquaman writer, David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick. What a name. And that's obviously, in case the movie, as in The Flash, that's coming out in the end of June next year roughly, does well. And I don't understand why that's a question, because I think it will. I'm not going to say I think, I know it will. I know, despite the controversy, I know there's all this controversy going around, and the question of whether the movie should even come out is still a raging topic as well. But the movie will be a potential billion-dollar club film. If not, it should be. I mean, it's got two Batman in Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck. Then you got the Flash, which has risen as an incredibly popular character as well. So it'd almost be a shock if the movie doesn't hit $1 billion. But there is that excuse if it doesn't hit $1 billion, just because of the controversy around it. And maybe, I guess, what the climate is around that time of the year, like if there's other movies coming out, or maybe if the movie's crap, but apparently it's tested extremely well in test audiences. So it'd be surprising if it came out and didn't get good reviews, unless people were just giving it bad reviews because of the whole Ezra Miller controversy. So it would be a surprising thing if it did not hit the $1 billion, let alone it earning enough money to get a sequel, which it should. And obviously the confidence is there because it's already been written. And it makes you wonder whether some stuff that was written in that sequel might have been used to in some of the pickups and reshoots they did not too long ago. I think even like 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, Ezra Miller was at the Warner Brothers lot doing a day of pickup shots. Maybe that's attached to the sequel and planting some seeds, but I don't know. But speaking of Ezra Miller, we know that he was charged with some certain felonies or some certain criminal charges, and that started to play out because the court case has started in regards to how they're going to plead in regards to whether guilty or innocent. So Ezra Miller pled not guilty yesterday, I guess, from when this video will come out, to the dual charges against them out of Stanford, Vermont. Now, the embattled star of The Flash is charged with a felony count of burglary into an occupied dwelling and a minor charge of petite larceny after video surveillance allegedly showed Miller entering a neighbor's home on May the 1st of this year before stealing 3 bottles of liquor from the neighbor's pantry. Now, if found guilty, Ezra Miller faces up to 26 years in prison and $2,000 in fines. So yeah, that's a big thing there. However, there is an easy out for Ezra here, which has already been set up through statements from Ezra themselves or their representation. And it's something that people won't be happy with if they use this, because it's just like, well, is it actually there? And that's mental health. But that would probably mean, if not definitely mean, that Ezra is on a short leash, and any minor issue would result in that prison time and maybe even something more. But whether that gives Warner Brothers the, I guess, the okay or the green light, I guess, to keep making movies with Ezra, or more specifically, like for Ezra to be in that Flash sequel, is a topic for a whole other world. But the word was like a few months ago that they had no intention to keep working with Ezra, but that was probably when they thought Ezra might actually be going to prison, and Ezra still could. Like, just, it doesn't mean, 26 years or nothing. Maybe he could get, like, Ezra could get, found guilty, and it just wouldn't be that 26 years that are presented there. It could be a year in prison, 5 years in prison, or, 5 years with like maybe like a 1 year where they, whatever it's called, where they see whether you're rehabilitated or not, and they might let you out. So that's what it could be for Ezra. Or it could be like a year or something in a rehab center where Ezra would be there full time. So it's got like the same, I guess, effect on as prison in regards to the society, because Ezra's not out there, but it's not as, as strict as a prison. It's more like the rehab center side of things. So that could be what happens there. But that's a whole wait and see. That court case still has to play out. I don't know how long it's meant to go for. But what are the thoughts on the Flash stuff? Well, there's not much, because the movie's not out. The first movie's not out, so we can't really say, okay, well, let's see what they do in the sequel, or what's been set up in the sequel. We don't know, because the movie's not out. But I guess it just shows that there's a confidence there from Warner Brothers and the people behind, the production side, that they've made a good film and they're happy to go ahead with the sequel. And I guess there's been enough time there for a sequel to be written already. So I wonder if that means that as soon as that comes out next year, late June next year, that they go, okay, well, the sequel's going ahead. We've already got it written, so we'll start making it. I mean, the movie's been delayed enough to the point where we probably could have got a trilogy already of Flash films if it actually came out in that original release date. I think in 2016, I think it was meant to come out. So, or was it 2017? Might be 2017. So, yeah, maybe they're happy and they're feeling the need for speed. Let's see how it all goes. The next topic, James Gunn. So apparently, there's James Gunn and his team are aiming for a new project or two at Warner Brothers and DC. One of them actually being this mystery movie. But of course, Peacemaker season 2 is a go, and James Gunn said he would be actually writing and directing. I think he said that he was going to be writing and directing all of the season 2 episodes from memory. So that's a movie length schedule in itself as well, depending on how many episodes there are in season 2. But in regards to if there's actually like 2 projects there outside of the mystery movie and Peacemaker season 2 isn't one of them, it wouldn't surprise me if like one of James Gunn's projects is Kite Man. I saw like someone wrote a list of like things they thought James Gunn might be writing. There's like 10 different DC things there. And the one I saw that made me go, oh, I could see that happening is Kite Man, because James Gunn has said he loves the Harley Quinn animated show. Kite Man's on there. And he could do some crazy story around that if he wanted to. So I think Kite Man would actually be a pretty good choice. You might have to do it as a series. I don't know how you could sell that as a movie and make it overly high budget. I just don't know how that would sell. So maybe a series on HBO Max like Peacemaker would be the best way to go about that. But if it's not Kite Man, you have to assume it's something maybe spinning out of like Suicide Squad, or maybe even spinning out of Peacemaker, whether that be a character that was in season 1 of Peacemaker or a character that is brought in during season 2, who might be Kite Man. I don't know. But I think James Gunn fits a DC. I know there's a lot of people that say he doesn't, but I don't get why. I think he works pretty well with it. So the Suicide Squad was great. The Peacemaker season 1 was great. So he's 2 for 2 in regards to the DC stuff. So I don't know where a lack of confidence could be hiding there. So I'm looking forward to see what he does next. Sometimes you can get too much James Gunny stuff in there and the comedy doesn't always work. But it's pretty rare you get a movie, especially in the comic book genre, where it's hilarious from minute 1 to the last minute, or every single joke lands. It's never going to happen. And I think James Gunn has a decent strike rate when it comes to the comedy stuff. Next up, Superman. So Warner Brothers has eyes, or their eyes are very much on Superman, and they have an intense desire to reprise the Henry Cavill iteration of Superman. Now, the project that would essentially be Man of Steel 2, with this new Henry Cavill movie, is being produced by Charles Roven, who has done all like the Zack Snyder films and even like the Wonder Woman movies. And I think he was also a producer on the Suicide Squad, which James Gunn did. and they're currently in search for writers. Now, it was well reported back in the day that Henry Cavill does like the more like lighthearted and Boy Scout, if you want to call it, approach to Superman, which might not please the fans of the version that was in the Zack Snyder films, though Snyder did say himself that like that was the journey that character would end up, or something like that. He'd eventually be that classic Superman version that a lot of people see, and that, you know, is more like a lighthearted Boy Scout approach. However, there were some sources that said that Henry Cavill did like the version that Joss Whedon wrote in the reshoots for Justice League. And I do like that version of Superman. I know like that movie is a bit of a, you know, just a big mess because you got two different tones and everything like that, and some of the scenes don't match. But those the Superman reshoots and some of it just feels like classic Superman. Some of you might disagree, but in regards to Henry Cavill's thoughts on that, make of that what you will, I guess. And finally, Batman. So Matt Reeves is developing the plans, for Batman 2 at the moment, with a spin-off series of Penguin, or The Penguin, soon to start filming. I think it's sometime next year or early next year, with Matt Reeves also apparently meeting with other writers and directors in order to build out that world with not just other series like the Penguin one, but with other movies as well. And characters such as Scarecrow, Clayface, and Professor Pig are some of the character possibilities that Matt Reeves is toying around with. And most likely, they would be reimaginings to fit that world that we saw in the first Batman movie. So I don't see Clayface actually being like made of clay, literally, but I could see like, you know, an aspiring, like handsome actor that was maybe disfigured. So he returns to, that, the favor to people, or maybe even worse, like steals their face, like a Leatherface type situation. I mean, Clayface, Leatherface, something like that. I mean, the Riddler was a whole like Zodiac sort of murderer thing. So put like what they did with Riddler and then go, well, how could they do Clayface, without actually him being clay? So, whether he wears it like Leatherface is another question, but I could definitely see something like that. It'd be pretty gnarly, but I could definitely see it. But I enjoyed the first Batman movie from Matt Reeves very, very much, and just that world he built, and you want to explore it and even extend beyond Gotham. That might be a big question, or like a big ask, might I say, just because there's so much you can do within Gotham City and there's so many characters, even if it is the heroic side, just, Robins and stuff like that folding into things. That's probably more, further down the line. But I don't think Matt Reeves is thinking, oh, I need to introduce Superman, or I need to introduce Wonder Woman, or any other characters like that, because there's just so much to play with within Gotham City, even especially when you start going, well, I can make an entire mini-series on Clayface or on Professor Pig, or these different villains. It's pretty crazy the amount of content you can just make from that one city and that one hero and all of these different, villains or rogues gallery. But yeah, where DC goes forward over the next handful of years, and I guess the next decade, it's going to be very interesting. I mean, they had a plan 10 years ago, and look where we are now, where none of those plans really played out because there was so much shifting. So I really think it really matters who DC puts as the head, and just puts a lot of confidence in them. And it has to be someone that's not an actor or a director. Like, I've seen people saying, oh, Dwayne Johnson. I think Dwayne Johnson would be a terrible person to head up DC, because he just want everything to focus around Black Adam, or, people that are that are attached to his like representative agency or whatever it is, or his production company. I think it'd be a terrible idea. It has to be someone that's very neutral, but knows what they're doing. And that's probably the hardest task at hand. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. But everything that's been announced, that's coming forward, has me intrigued. Maybe not overly excited, but definitely has me intrigued to see what it's like when it comes out. So that's probably the positive going into it all. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on all this stuff. Which of these things you're looking forward to the most? Thoughts on the Ezra Miller stuff? Crazy stuff. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down there in the comments. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.